Welcome back to Sprout from Darkness. We're so glad you're here with us today as we continue our deep dive into the layers of healing, reclaiming our true purpose, and navigating the long-term effects of unresolved trauma. In this episode, we're not just exploring how to heal personal trauma, but also examining how widespread psychological manipulation, such as the infamous MKUltra program, has impacted us individually, within our families, and throughout society at large. This episode is about breaking free from patterns that have been formed through trauma and manipulation. So, let's get real. Arrested development, a state where emotional growth and maturity become stunted due to past trauma, is an experience that many of us carry, sometimes without even knowing it. Whether it's personal trauma, generational patterns, or something more systemic, this episode will shine a light on how unresolved trauma and covert manipulation have kept so many of us from growing emotionally and reaching our true potential. Understanding arrested development and its impact. Arrested development is often an invisible struggle, something that doesn't always show on the surface but profoundly impacts how we live our lives. When we go through trauma, whether emotional, physical, or psychological, our emotional development can become frozen at the time of injury. It's like an emotional freeze frame. In many cases, this freeze can lead to unhealthy relationship patterns, self-sabotage, low self-esteem, and feelings of constant instability. But this isn't just an individual issue. The ripple effects of arrested development extend outward to families, communities, and beyond. When we are emotionally stunted, our relationships suffer. It's not just about the individual. Those around us, such as our children, loved ones, and friends, also feel the impact of unhealed trauma. In my own experience, I know how deeply unresolved trauma can affect those we care about. If we don't heal, we become emotionally unavailable, reactive, and often disconnected. This lack of emotional maturity creates a chain reaction that affects everyone we come into contact with, especially those closest to us. The legacy of psychological manipulation is not just a historical issue. It is a pervasive force that continues to shape modern society. The infamous MKUltra program, run by the CIA from the 1950s through the 1970s, serves as a shocking example of the extremes to which psychological manipulation and control can be taken. MKUltra was designed to use mind-altering drugs, emotional manipulation, and psychological torture to break individuals down and manipulate them into becoming sleeper agents. While these programs had devastating effects on the individuals who were targeted, the impact didn't stop there. The trauma caused by these covert operations rippled outward, affecting not only the survivors, but also their families, communities, and society at large. Survivors of MKUltra and similar programs reported a range of psychological and emotional issues, including severe dissociation, fragmentation of the self, and a profound sense of instability. But even though MKUltra ended in the 70s, we still feel its influence today. In modern society, manipulation takes on new forms. Media, advertising, and even social media platforms have become the tools of psychological influence, shaping our beliefs, emotions, and behaviors in ways we don't always recognize. These forms of manipulation are subtle, but powerful. They tell us who we should be, what we should want, and how we should feel, often without us even realizing it. We are constantly bombarded with messages that keep us emotionally unstable, divided, and distracted, preventing us from reaching our full potential. In a world where we are constantly manipulated to feel inadequate, disconnected, or fearful, it becomes nearly impossible to nurture our emotional maturity and evolve, healing and reclaiming emotional maturity. Despite the overwhelming impact of arrested development and psychological manipulation, healing is possible. The road to recovery requires self-reflection, the use of tools to break free from emotional patterns, and most importantly, the willingness to reconnect with our emotional selves. It's about confronting the trauma and manipulation that has kept us emotionally frozen and choosing to step into a place of growth and healing. Here are some tools that have helped countless individuals on their journey to reclaim their emotional maturity. Mindfulness and meditation. In a world filled with distractions, mindfulness offers a grounding practice to reconnect with the present moment. Trauma often keeps us stuck in the past, reliving old wounds, or in the future, consumed by fear. By practicing mindfulness, we begin to create space between our thoughts and our emotional reactions. It's through this space that we can observe, choose, and break free from automatic responses to fear or stress. Mindfulness and meditation create the pause needed to heal our emotional wounds. How to practice. Start with guided meditations or breathing exercises to ease into the practice. Practice focusing on your breath or physical sensations to stay anchored in the present. Use mindfulness techniques when overwhelming thoughts arise to help you stay grounded and break the cycle of emotional reactivity. Journaling. Journaling is a powerful tool that helps us reconnect with our authentic selves. It allows us to express thoughts and feelings that might otherwise remain trapped inside. Through writing, we can reclaim our narrative and begin to unpack the emotional weight of trauma and manipulation. Journaling becomes a space for healing where we can express ourselves freely without judgment. How to use journaling effectively. Write freely about your feelings, experiences, and challenges without worrying about grammar or structure. Use journaling as a way to process your trauma and understand how it has shaped you. Over time, reflect on the progress you've made and track your emotional growth. Setting boundaries. One of the most important steps in healing is learning to set clear and healthy boundaries. Trauma and manipulation often thrive in environments where boundaries are weak or non-existent. By setting boundaries, we protect our emotional energy and reclaim control over our lives. Boundaries are not just about saying no, they're about creating space for self-care and healing. Practical steps to setting boundaries. Start small by identifying areas of your life where you need to protect your energy. Practice saying no without guilt. Remember, your well-being comes first. Prioritize activities and relationships that nurture your emotional growth. Therapy and support groups. Sometimes healing requires external support. Therapy provides a safe space to explore the deeper layers of trauma and manipulation, while support groups offer a sense of community with others who share similar experiences. You don't have to heal alone. Therapy can help you process your emotions, uncover hidden wounds, and rebuild trust in yourself. How to find support. Seek therapists who specialize in trauma, emotional abuse, or mind control recovery. Join a support group to connect with others on a similar journey. If therapy feels daunting, start by journaling about your experiences and share them with someone you trust. Healing your inner child. Much of the trauma we carry stems from childhood wounds, the deep emotional injuries that can prevent us from developing emotional maturity. Healing your inner child involves reconnecting with the younger version of yourself, offering compassion, and addressing past wounds that were never properly healed. Healing your inner child. Write a letter to your younger self, offering love and understanding. Revisit childhood memories and allow yourself to feel the emotions you might have buried. Practice self-soothing techniques when triggered, treating yourself with the same love you would offer a vulnerable child. Now, I want to hear from you. What tools have helped you break free from arrested development or psychological manipulation? What strategies have you used to reclaim your emotional maturity? Share your experiences with us in the comments or on our community page. Healing is not a solitary journey, it's something we do together. Please take a moment to share this episode with anyone who might need it. If this episode resonated with you, it could be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. Don't forget to follow Sprout from Darkness on social media and subscribe to stay updated on new episodes. And most importantly, connect with others who are on the same path of healing. Remember, healing doesn't happen in isolation. It's a collective effort. By sharing our stories and supporting each other, we break free from the cycles of trauma and manipulation that hold us back. Together, we can create a healthier, more emotionally mature society. Thank you for being here. Until next time, keep sprouting from the darkness into the light of your true soul's purpose.